started the way these stories often do, on a night soaked in rain, with a woman driving just a little too far off the map. Claire Holloway wasn't lost, not at first, but when her phone battery hit zero and the road signs gave way to rusted posts and silence, she knew she'd taken a wrong turn somewhere between the city and nowhere. That's when she saw it, perched on a cliffside like a relic clinging to the past. Ravenwood Inn, a flickering sign, a gravel driveway, and not another soul in sight. She could have turned back. She should have. The bell above the door let out a soft chime as Claire stepped inside. The air smelled of wood polish and something older, like mildew hidden behind layers of time. Faded wallpaper peeled near the corners. A fireplace flickered weakly, and behind the desk stood a man who seemed like he'd always been there. Mr. Whitaker, a crooked smile, cloudy eyes. He didn't ask her name, didn't reach for a computer, just slid a brass key across the counter and said, "Room 3, into the hall. Don't wander at night." Claire blinked. "Excuse me? Old inn. Lots of creaks. Gets disorienting after dark." He turned, shuffled into the back, and vanished like fog through a crack in the door. Claire was left alone, holding a key that felt colder than it should have. Claire passed through the lounge on her way to room 3. The space was like a still life painting. Everything too quiet, too perfect, too staged. A woman in a red coat sat by the fire, legs crossed, eyes fixed on the flames but never blinking. A man behind a newspaper coughed once, deliberate, loud enough to be heard, but never lowering the pages. And a teenager lounged on a faded chaise, staring at the ceiling as though reading something only they could see. No one spoke, but Claire felt it. They were watching her. Not obviously, not rudely, but in that quiet way predators watch prey, studying how it moves before deciding when to pounce. She quickened her pace, the brass key rattling faintly in her palm. Room 3 waited at the end of the hall, and something told her it had been waiting a long time. The bed in room 3 was too soft, the walls too thin. Claire lay awake, listening to the creaks of old wood and the ticking of an antique clock. At some point, she must have drifted off. But at exactly 3:13 a.m., she woke up, not from a nightmare, not from a sound, but from the absence of one, like the world had stopped breathing. Then knock, knock, knock. 3 dull taps. Not frantic, not loud, just deliberate. She sat up slowly, the hairs on her arms standing on edge. Nothing outside the peephole. No footsteps, until she heard it. Thump, thump, thump. Heavy footsteps moving slowly down the hallway. She opened the door a crack. No one, but at the far end of the hall, just around the corner, something had moved. She closed the door and locked it. And that was the moment Claire realized. This wasn't just a strange old inn. It was a place that watched back. Morning came, but it didn't feel like morning. The sun never fully rose in Ravenwood. Just a gray haze that settled like a fog no one noticed anymore. Claire rubbed her eyes, half convinced the night had been a stress dream, until she reached for her phone and found nothing. No charger, no signal, no phone at all. She ran outside in a panic. Her car was gone, not stolen, just gone. No tire marks, no oil stains, no trace it had ever existed. She stormed back toward the lobby, but paused. A slip of aged paper lay just inside her doorway. She picked it up slowly, heart pounding. 5 words, handwritten in ink that looked faded from decades. "Leave before nightfall. They know you're not one of us." Her blood ran cold. Someone knew she didn't belong, and someone was warning her, or maybe taunting her. Claire didn't wait. She stormed into the lobby, the brass key still clenched in her fist. Mr. Whitaker stood behind the desk, hands folded neatly, as if he'd been waiting for her. "Where's my car?" she asked. He blinked, slowly. "You came on foot, didn't you?" Claire's breath caught. "No, I parked right out front." He smiled softly. "Our lot hasn't been used in years. My name is Claire Holloway. Room 3. Look in your book." Whitaker turned the guest book toward her. Nothing. Her name wasn't there. Room 3 wasn't listed. "There is no room 3, he said gently. "It's been locked since the fire." Claire stepped back. Her ears rang. Either she was losing her mind, or someone was trying very hard to make her believe she was.